Hello everyone, in the previous sessions of databases we have talked about MySQL and we have seen what is MySQL database, the overall structure and architecture of SQL. Similarly, now what we are going to do is that we are going to study a new database and the name of that database is MongoDB. And one more thing is that we're going to follow the same sequence that we did for MySQL database. So in the first part, I will divide this MongoDB database series into three parts. In the first part, we will see how to install MongoDB and we will understand the basic concepts and basic working of this database, MongoDB database. Now in the second part, we will talk about in-depth functionalities, in-depth commands of MongoDB. So in-depth understanding of this database. In the third part, after covering the complete MongoDB database, we will integrate this database with our backend. So I will add Express with MongoDB and we will see how the interaction between MongoDB database happens with Express.js. So here we will add MongoDB with our Express and we will build a real-time application. If you remember, in the last lecture of MySQL plus Node, we have built a simple Quora application, right? We have generated, we have added post, delete post, generating ID. So we did a simple project. Similar to that, in this lecture also, in this three-part series, first we'll study basics. In second part, in-depth understanding of this database. In the third part, backend with this particular MongoDB database. Okay, understood. Now I wanna draw parallels with MySQL. So here in this session, whenever we study a new concept now, I will draw parallels between MySQL and MongoDB. We will understand with respect to this because we have understood in depth of MongoDB database. So what we will do is that if we are not understanding some concept, then we will try to draw parallels, we will try to relate to MySQL database and from that we can understand in detail. Now here, if you remember, in databases part 1, I have talked about types of databases. Mainly they are two types of databases. First one is relational database and the second type of databases are non-relational databases. Non-relational databases. Now in relational database, the data is stored in the form of tables, basically in rows and columns, right? If we store data in the form of tables and each row represents individual data points and column represents what type of data we are gonna store. So if I'm doing this, if I'm storing data in the form of tables, then we call that database as relational database, and MySQL is a relational database. Now the definition of non-relational database is if I'm storing data not in the form of table. I'm not using any table, any rows and columns here. I'm not using that. What we are doing is we are using some architecture, we are using some systems in place which don't require tables. For example, if I'm storing data in the form of notes, which is basically graph, if I'm storing data in the form of graph, or I can store data in the form of documents. So here what we are doing is that to store data, we are not using tables, we are not using rows and columns. What we are doing is that we are using some other architecture. If I am using some other architecture, then I call that type of data storage systems as non-relational databases. And the famous example of non-relational database is MongoDB. In this, what we do is that we store data in the form of key value pairs and we call this single key value pair as a document. Right, we will study about what is document, what is collection, all these things in few minutes. But yeah, the thing you need to remember is the example of relational database is MySQL, and in relational databases we store data in the form of tables. right, in the form of rows and columns. In non-relational database, we don't use any tables. What we do is that we use some other architecture, and that architecture can be graphs, that architecture can be key value pairs, right? So here in non-relational database, we are not using any tables. Instead of that, we are using some other things, right? And in non-relational database, the concept we are going to study is MongoDB. MongoDB stores data in the form of key value pair, and we call this key value pair as document. Clear? Up to now? Clear. Now the very first concept, and let me tell you one more thing also here. So I have told you, right, the document format, key value storage format is MongoDB. Now what is graph storing format? In blockchain, I won't go into the depth of it, and I will just give you a clear idea that in blockchain there is a concept called as decentralized storage systems. So in decentralized storage systems, what we do is that we store data in the form of nodes, right? We store data in nodes, and each across area. For example, if I have 100 kilometer square area, now in this 100 kilometer square area, whatever the servers are there, what I will do is that I will share my data into this different servers. Okay, we are going off topic, but the example of graph storage based databases are decentralized storage systems, and the example of key value pair document based databases is MongoDB. Okay, now the first concept we are going to study in MongoDB is Mongo Shell, right? So Mongo Shell is a runtime environment of MongoDB. If you remember, in SQL we have studied a concept called as CLI SQL command. So what this CLI SQL command will do is that it will create an environment in which in terminal we can write our SQL commands like this using Mongo Shell. We can create a Mongo's environment, and in this we can create our database. We will write our data, like whatever the data insertion, deletion, CRUD operations we are going to perform, we will write all of those in the Mongo Shell, right? Mongo Shell is very similar to CLI SQL command, right? CLI SQL command is used to create SQL environment within the terminal, right? Similar to that, Mongo Shell is used to create a runtime environment where we can write MongoDB commands basically. Okay, now before we go into the concepts of how we're going to use MongoDB, what are the commands, let me show you the installation process. So here I will go to the website of MongoDB community. So I will provide you the link of this platform. So what we have to do is that just see this link, right? MongoDB community server, and go here. You will see different options based on your system architecture, system requirements. Choose the corresponding one. Now after this, here you can see platform. If your computer is Macintosh, then choose Mac here. Right now I'm using Windows, so Windows. And finally you'll get package installation, two options. First one is MSI and the second one is zip. If you don't have much storage in your system now, then go with zip. I have storage, so what I will do is that I will directly download the application. Just click on download and your download process will begin. Now I have already installed Mongo Shell in my computer. So what we have to do is that after installing this software, double click on it and just click next, and automatically your MongoDB Compass application will get installed in your computer. Now after completing the installation process, just come onto the search bar and search MongoDB. Here you can see there is an option called as MongoDB Compass. Now in this application we are gonna build our server. Okay, in this application we will build our server, and using this application only we can connect our MongoDB server with our Express backend. Okay, now what we are gonna do is that we will see this entire application working in the part 2 of MongoDB. Right now we will try to understand how MongoDB work, what is the architecture, what goes beyond into the storing process of MongoDB. We will understand all the concepts, and basic commands, and we will perform those basic commands in online compiler. First of all, we'll begin with teeny tiny online compiler. After that, we'll come to this application. Okay, got it. Now here, coming back to the concepts, the first concept we are having is how data is stored in MongoDB. This is a very interesting, at the same time very easy thing to understand. So I will draw the parallels with MySQL, and by just talking about it, we'll understand what are the differences and what are the similarities of storing data in MySQL and MongoDB. So here, first of all, let me choose my pen. Okay, now in MySQL, what we used to do, we store data in the form of tables. Let's say this is my table, column 1, column 2, column 3, row 1, row 2, row 3. Here I will store column 1, column 2, column 3, and in row 1 I will store data point 1, in row 2 second data, in row 3 third data. Like this, in each and every row I will store data. Okay, MySQL database storing system, the idea of storing system is very clear in our head. Like we can easily visualize, okay, we will have a table, in that table we have multiple columns, and each column will have rows, and in those rows we will store our data. Okay, very clear. But in MongoDB we store data in the form of documents. Now how we can visualize it? For that, I want you guys to imagine a file, right? In file, we will have different documents, and each document will store some information. Like this only MongoDB stores data, and we call this each and collection of this set of this documents as collection. Okay, if I want to give you an example, let's say I have this book here. Now this book, although this is not a accurate example, but yeah, we'll go along with it. So here you can see this is a book. Now in this book we'll have multiple pages. This book can have many pages, and each page in this entire book, each page of this book stores some information. Like this only, here we will have documents. This is document 1, document 2, document 1, document 2, document 3, and the collection of this all documents, the set of all these documents, we call it as a collection. And collection is very similar to table. In table we store data, in collection also we store data, and in each and every row each data point is stored. Similarly, in each and every document data point is stored. This is data point 1, data point 2. Actually I shouldn't say data point, but yeah, data 1, data 2, data 3. Like this we store data in document format. Okay, and the collection of these documents is known as collection. So here MongoDB document, Mongo stores data in the form of documents, and the storing process happens in the form of BSON, right? I will show you what is BSON. Again, interesting process, an interesting concept. And the collection of this, the MongoDB stores this document in collections. So combining all these documents, we call them as collections. Okay, now the data we are gonna store in MongoDB is in the form of BSON. BSON is nothing but binary JSON. So if you recall the concepts of APIs, right? We have studied about APIs, right? In APIs, I have told you that cat API, dog API, all these different APIs. And this, what this API will do, like cat API, dog API, random fact generator, whenever you call or whenever you send a request to this APIs, it will send you as a response JSON format data, right? And what is JSON format? Basically key value pairs. This APIs will return you data in the form of key value pairs, and we call this key value formatted data as JSON, JavaScript object. Now here you can see, I hope you guys are clear. You can see here in JSON format, my data, both key and values, are strings. Whereas in BSON also very similar to JSON, but there are very minute differences between JSON and BSON. In BSON, the keys are not strings. right? And we can have multiple data types. For example, I think I might be wrong here, but in JavaScript, in JavaScript object in JSON will not have a value null. Here we can have a value null, right? And BSON is much faster than JSON in storing data, in retrieving data, in performing general operations on data. When compared to JSON, BSON is a little bit faster, and this is one difference. And the second difference is keys are not strings. Here you can see the keys are not string values, whereas here in JSON the keys are strings. So these are the two differences between JSON and BSON. Now we have talked about how data is stored, but how to create a database. So in SQL, to create a database, first of all we used to write create database, and let's say I want to create a student database, so I used to write student here, right? After, to use this create database in my SQL, we were writing a command use student. We were writing just that particular database command. Okay, now by just writing these two commands, we can create and use whatever the database we have created in MySQL, right? Now to create and use database in MongoDB, we have a single command, right? And that command is use that database name. For example, let's say in my MongoDB, this is my MongoDB server. Initially my server is empty. Now what I want to do is that, let's say I want to create a database called as student. So here I will write use student, and when I run this command now, I will check whether there is a database. Here you can see the old database is empty. If the database is empty, then immediately a student database will get created in my Mongo server. So here student database will get created. Okay, now after creating, I can directly use it. So here this single command will ensure if there is a pre-existing database, then I will use it. If there is no pre-existing database, then I will create the database first. After that I will use it. So I hope you are clear. Now what I'm gonna do is that, first of all, I will go to my online compiler. Here I will write, let me close the installation process. Here also, okay. Now I will open MongoDB online compiler. Just click on it and you will get different websites. The second one is really good. Run MongoDB code. Now first of all, I will create my database. Here I will write use student. Let's say I want to create student database. So here I will run it. And you can see in the output screen, my compiler MongoDB switched to DB student. Here successfully our database has created. Now to understand further commands, I have been thinking about an idea. I have been thinking about a simple application, and using this application we will make this session interactive. The idea I am thinking is that we will create application, or you can say a database, in which I'm gonna store a book. Let's say I want to create a book database. So in book database, what I will do I will have book ID, and I will have book name, author, and price of that book. So I want to create this thing. Generally in MySQL I will create a database, but in this data format, in MongoDB data format, what I will do is that I will create first of all use book, and this will create a book database. Okay, we will create a book database. Now after that I will start inserting the values into the database in this format, in key value pair format. So what I will do is that I will write insert. First of all, let's say I want to insert a book, and the name of that book is insert1, and in that I want to insert name of the book is here this is not a string, name is, let's say, 12 rules of life, and the author is Jordan Peterson, and the price is, let's say, 2000, right? Like this I can insert one what I can say, one data point into my database. This is one method. Now if I want to store, let's say this is Jordan Peterson, ID 1, and name is 12 Rules of Life, Jordan Peterson 2000. Now if I want to insert another book, right, 2 books at a time, then I will use insert many commands, and I will pass array of key value pairs. So this is first element, this is second element. Like this I can directly add multiple elements in the form of array. So here let's say I want to add book of Tom, I can't recall the name, but yeah, some Chanakya book of Tom Morgan Housel, right? So here I'm bad with names, but yeah, let's say I want to insert Psychology of Money, and the author is Morgan Housel, Morgan something, I can't recall, and price is, let's say, $9.99. Like this I can directly insert one element, or I can insert by just writing insert many command, insert many, I will send array of elements. Let's say I want to send a book of Chanakya Niti, and the author is, let's say, Chanakya himself. I don't know Chanakya wrote any books or not, but yeah, price is around 2000, right? Like this I can send array of elements once. If I want to send multiple elements, if I want to insert multiple elements, if I want to add only one element, then I will use this simple command. So let us see how this will work. So I will write db dot student dot insert one. In this I will give the key value pairs. Let's say my first is name is 12 Rules of Life. Okay, now after that let's say my author name. So here I will give author, and author name is Jordan Peterson. Okay, after that price 2000. Like this I can create I can insert one element at a time. Now if I run it, then it will show that element has successfully inserted. If there is error, then it will show me error. You can see acknowledged true, and inserted ID, it has given me a ID as well. If there is error, then it will show me compilation error, and it will not show execution complete with code 0. So this shows me, this indicates that the insertion successfully happened. Now let's say I want to insert multiple elements. So here I will write db dot student dot insert many. So here I will write insert many. Now what I will do is that first of all I will give the array of elements. So here my first key value pair is, let's say, name of the book, the one who fights with God, or okay, crime and punishment, and the author of that book is Dostoevsky. I don't know how to pronounce that name, Dostoevsky. I don't know even how to write his name as well. Very tough names, French names. Price, and price is, it's a very costly book. So here I will give you here 3000. Original copy is very, hard to get, but yeah. And the next element is, let's say I want to insert another book of Franz Kafka, Metamorphosis. I am giving you book knowledge as well here, and the author here is, here I need to give AUTHOUR, author Dostoevsky. Okay, yeah, anyways the author spelling is correct. Author is Franz Kafka. If there is an error in my code, then I will while compilation it will show Franz Kafka, right? And the price of Metamorphosis is also very costly. In India we don't get those books easily, but yeah, these books are very famous: 12 Rules of Life, Crime and Punishment, Metamorphosis. If you are new to reading non-fiction especially, I recommend you guys to read 12 Rules of Life. Fantastic book, right? If we have some time, if I'm free, then I'll be more than happy to discuss with you guys in detail, in-depth explanation of 12 rules of life. But yeah, coming back to our programming concept, let's say 2000. Now yeah, this is about it. Like this we can insert it. Now if I run this command now, then it should give me acknowledged student. Yeah, you can see first element inserted and this its id. After it, multiple elements, the first element is and its id, second element id. Like this I can insert one element at a time, or I can insert multiple elements at a time. Okay, now the next concept is find command. Find commands, it's a query which is used to find a particular element in our database. For example, right now I have inserted 3 books. First book is 12 rules of life, second one is crime and punishment, third one is metamorphosis. Now let's say I want to find a book which is not there. For example, if I want to find a book of Nietzsche, like willpower, right? I haven't inserted the book, but if I'm searching it, then it will show me error. It will tell me that there is no book like that. It will show me null. If there is a book, then it will return me the value of that. Okay, so here let us see how this will work. If I write not compass, we'll see compass later, but yeah, what I will do is that db.student.find. If I write just find now, then it will return me everything. Let us see what will happen. You can see when I click find, whatever the IDs I am having, this is 12 rules of life, crime and punishment, Franz Kafka, whatever the elements which I have inserted in my database, all those elements will come out by find command. Now if I want to find one element, only one element, then I will write find one. Here I will remove find dot find one, and I will give the key value pair. Let's say my key is name and its value is here I will give 12 rules of life. 12 rules of life. Now let me save it and run again. So what this will do is that it will return that particular row, that particular document to me. So here you can see it is showing me some sort of error. I have given error somewhere in line 12. In line 12 there is a error. Okay, here I need to give this in curly parenthesis. So here I will give in curly parenthesis, my bad, because this is a key value pair, right? So let me run it again. You can see I am getting that particular book. For example, let's say I have multiple documents of 12 rules of life. I have 12 rules of life in document 1, in document 2 also I am having a key value pair called as 12 rules of life. I want all the documents which is having this particular key value pair. Then instead of giving one, I will give find and I will give key value pairs. So whatever the key value pairs, this particular like row, whatever the rows I'm having, all those rows will get displayed here. Now you can see there is only one document, there is only one row. That is why I'm only getting one element. If there are multiple elements like this, for example, let's say I'm writing name and here I will give 12 rules of life again here. Here let me give 12 rules of life, copy, and again. Now what this will do is that it will give me 2 elements now, because in row 1 I am having 12 rules of life, in row 2 also I am having 12 rules of life. So how many let's say I am having 10 rows. Among these 10 rows there are 3 elements which are having a key value pair called as 12 name, 12 rules of life. So whatever the elements are there, whatever the rows are there, it will return me all those rows which are having the key value pairs equivalent to this. Clear? Now if I run this, I will get 2 rows. So find one will give me any one row, but find will give me all the elements, all the rows which are having this key value pair. So here you can see row 1, row 2. Like this we'll be having different elements. So find one is used to, it will return only one. Find will return all the values, all the rows which matches to this key value pair. Okay, now the next command we are having is update command. So let's say I want to update a particular key value pair, or I want to update a particular data in a row, right? So to do that, I will use update collection, whatever my database name. Collection here is database name dot update one. If I want to update one key value pair, and I will give what type of updation I want to give and the updated values, and along with it I will give options also. So let me show you how this will work. So to update a particular value, let's say I will write db dot student, student is my database name, dot update, and if I want to update only one value, so here I will give update, and in this curly parenthesis I will give the author name. Let's say I want to update the title, right? For example, let's say I want to update the title. I want to let's say the book, I want to update the title as name, and let's say I want to update it to 12 rules of life, and I want to change the price of that particular thing. So here I will give, so this is the key value I want to update. Now for this particular key value pair, if I want to update the price of that, then I will write set, right? What value I want to set, what value I want to change. Let's say I want to change the price, so here I will write price and its corresponding value as 350. So here, by just writing this line, what this line will do is that it will automatically change the price of the book from 2000 to 350. So if I run this command now, then I will get the updated value. It will show me the value has successfully updated. So here you can see I am getting rule, and now you can see inserted value null. I haven't inserted anything, but I have matched one count, and that count is price. Now after getting the price, what I have did is I have inserted, I have modified the count. The count value was 2000. Now the current count value is 350. Like this I can update one value. For example, if I want to update multiple values, then in the place of one I will give many, and by just writing many, now I will update many values at once, right? For example, if I want to update the price of 12 rules of life, the price of crime and punishment, if I want to update the price of multiple books at a time, then in the place of update one I will use update many, right? If I run this, then it will work the same, but the difference is update one is only used to change one value at a time, whereas update many can change like many document values at a time, multiple document values at a single time. So here you can see I have updated the value and execution code is successful. Like this we run our command. Okay, I hope you have understood how to update, how to insert, and how to find a particular value in our MongoDB database. Now the next concept we are having is nesting. This is again an interesting concept. So here we will be having a concept called as nesting, and what it means, nesting, is that we have studied for loop, we have studied looping, right? Nesting is nothing but writing statements inside itself. For example, if I am writing a loop inside a loop, then it is an example of nesting. If I am writing a conditional statement inside a conditional statement, then it is an example of conditional nesting. Similarly, within a key value pair, again if I am giving a key value pair, then it is known as nested document. Okay, and the example is, here you can see here I am storing ID. Let me change the pen. White would be great here. Okay, now here you can see I am having ID, and for that ID some value, and name is Farha. Performance, let's say I want to store marks, CGPA, height, gender, all these different things. So if I am writing object inside object, then it is a nested object. So here what I will do is that I will create object ID number, name here for her, right, string, after that performance, and inside this key value pair again I will give a key value pair object. So this is an example of nesting. Again I will give marks, 90, CGPA, let's say 9, and yep, this is the object. So here you can see this is a object 1, or you can say external object, and this is a internal object, right? So these are the two different objects, and you can see I am having this second object inside a outer object. So this is a example of nesting. And I can also like perform find operation, select operation, all these different things in the nesting as well. So here I will come back and I will create a nested object. Let's say I want to create a new object. How to go down here? Okay, here I will write a new object. I hope you guys can see it, right? Let me zoom it as well. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is that first of all I will run db.student. Let's say I want to insert a object. So insert 1. Inside this I will insert my object. Let's say name of the book. Name of the book is deep work. Here I can give string, or I can also remove the string. Here, even though the data is in BSON, we can give strings, or we don't need to give strings. It will work. Here I will give author. Author is, I think, Cal Nipot. I can't, I'm bad with names. So here Cal author, the author of deep work is Cal Newport. Okay, very bad with names, forgive me. Okay, now price, let's say it's 500 rupees. So here I will give 500. Now along with it, if I want to include a row ID, or you can say key value pair, which stores reviews of each and every customer. So here I will give reviews, and inside reviews I will store objects. I will store array of objects, to be specific. Here I will give user 1. Let's say user is Alice and his rating is 5. He loves this book and he has given a comment as well. Write comment, great book. Great book. Now this is one object insertion. Like this, if I want to insert another object, then I will write user. Let's say user is now Khan, and his rating is 4. Khans are very bad at rating. Okay, and comments. He has given a comment, helpful book. Okay, like this we can insert multiple lines at once also. Now if I come back here, where is my command line output screen? Yeah, you can see in the output screen my output is I have inserted the object, finding object, updated, and here you can see Alice is a token. There is some error in line 10. There is a error. Okay, here I need to give comma. This is my error. My bad. Let me run it again. Now you can see there is no error. I have inserted multiple students at once. Okay, so this is an example of inserting a nested object. I hope you have understood. Now the last basic command we are having is delete command. Let's say I want to delete a particular book from my database. Then I can use delete command. The commands we are having is delete one, delete many, and delete database. If I want to delete the entire database, then I will use delete database. This will entirely delete the database from my Mongo server. If I want to delete a particular element, then I will give what element I want to choose, and for that what are the things I want to do, I want to perform on that. By writing this line, I can delete one element at a time, and by writing this line db.collection.delete many, and I will give the which key value pair I want to delete, and along with it what are the things I want to delete, what are the things I want to perform on that thing. Right? By writing this thing, we can easily delete any object, any document in my Mongo server, MongoDB database. So here what I will do is that let me show you how this command will work. So to delete a particular thing in our Mongo server, what we're gonna do is that first of all I will write db.student. I'm choosing my create database. Now if I want to delete a particular one, so here I will write, let's say I want to delete a book which is having name 12 rules of life. I'm beyond 12 rules of life always, so 12 rules of life. If I want to delete this particular book, then I will just write it out and run this command. So when I run this command, now automatically this particular object will get deleted from my database. So here it is running, and you can see acknowledged deleted one count. Like this, if I want to delete multiple elements at a time, then I will use delete many command. So here I will write db.student.delete many. In this I will give, let's say I want to delete books which are below 300 or which are about 300. Then here I will give price, and let's say price is 2000, or along with price I need to give condition as well. So here I will give, let's say my book, if my book price is less than or equals to 300. If this is the case, then I want to delete those entire books. You can see I am having 3 different books. First book price is 2000, second book price is 3000, third book price is again 200, right? Sorry, 2000. Now I will improve it. I will, if my book price is less than 3000, then I will delete it. Okay, so here I will give 3000, I will delete it. Now if I run this command now, then again 12 rules of life will get deleted. Let me run it. You can see my object got deleted. First of all, I have deleted a book called as 12 rules of life by using delete one command, and after that I have deleted another like set of books which are having this particular condition. That condition is whatever the books I'm having less than 3000 price, I'm deleting all those books. So this is an example of deleting elements, multiple elements at a time in my Mongo server. So this is about MongoDB part 1. I have shown you the installation process, basic commands, how data is stored within this MongoDB server. MongoDB, like how data, BSON data, JSON data, all this sort of things. So with that being said, this is about MongoDB, and this is the very basic understanding, and believe me, MongoDB is much easier and it is much user friendly than MySQL. MySQL Workbench is a very old school thing, but MongoDB is very like, it's new technology and it is easy to understand. Okay, and the next lectures are going to be really fun. So with that being said, I will see you in the next lecture. In the next lecture, we will talk about in-depth some commands. We will understand how to create constraints, all this sort of things. And what I'm thinking is, okay, if you're watching it, then first of all, thank you for listening to my old school lectures. And coming to the point, what I have been thinking is, after completing MongoDB, we will see some backend concepts like middlewares. I have been talking about middlewares that I will explain. I will talk about middlewares. After that, authorization and authentication. We will see how to create login processes and all of that. And finally, we'll go to React and React tools. So these are the three things will be pending after completing. Sorry, MongoDB will cover errors, middlewires, authorization, authentication, basically backend. After React and React tools. So this, after completing all this, our web development will be completed. So it will hardly take, if I sit consistently, then I will complete all those things in 10 days or 15 days daily, right? So with that being said, really excited to share our concepts and talk about them and apply them in real time as well. So yeah, excited, and see you in the next lecture.